All right, hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, your 2015 Job Search Plan for Flexible and Virtual Jobs. My name is Bree Reynolds, and I am the Director of Online Content at FlexJobs, and I'll be walking you through the presentation today. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping and just let you know how things are going to flow during today's presentation, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So we're going to have about 40 minutes or so of presentation going through different tips and tricks and information about virtual and flexible jobs and getting your job search plan in order. And then I'm going to leave about 20 minutes at the end of today's webinar for questions and answers. So if you do have any questions as we're going along, you can leave those in the questions box on your GoToWebinar control panel. And if you don't see your GoToWebinar control panel, you might find a little orange arrow somewhere on your screen. If you click that orange arrow, it will open up the control panel and you'll be able to leave questions. My colleague Jen Blaze is going to be handling all of those questions as they come in. So if it's something that she's able to answer right away, she'll give you a response, and then otherwise she's going to hold those questions for the end of the presentation for me to take a look at and answer as many as I possibly can at the end. Again, I said my name is Bree Reynolds, and I'm the Director of Online Content at FlexJobs. So if you've ever read the FlexJobs blog or any of the company descriptions for the companies that we have on the site, my team, the writing team, is responsible for putting all of that together. So hopefully you're a little bit familiar with what we do and the type of information we offer. But the other reason that I'm speaking to you today is because I was a college career advisor for about 5 years before coming to FlexJobs. I've been at FlexJobs for about 4.5 years now, and I love helping people find jobs and find jobs that fit their lives, most importantly. So I am really excited to be here and chatting with everybody. I've worked with everybody from college freshmen to 70-year-old alumni who are still looking for new and exciting career opportunities, so hopefully I will have some useful information for everyone here. Today's presentation is being recorded, so if you want to refer back to that recording, we'll be sending out a link in an email to everyone tomorrow. So we'll get that recording up, and it'll be put on the blog post where you were registering for the webinar, and you'll be able to view that recording as many times as you'd like and get all the notes and information you need. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to talk a little bit about the topics that we'll be covering today. First, I'm going to talk just briefly about FlexJobs. I know some people here are current FlexJobs members and others are not. Just want to make sure everybody's familiar. Then we'll go into your job search plan. So new year, new job search plan. Hopefully we'll give you some good tips to be able to put to use right away. We'll talk about flexible and virtual jobs. We'll talk about the career fields and the companies that are hiring. How to be a great flex work candidate, because there are some differences in being a candidate for flexible jobs versus regular jobs. And then I'll give you some quick job search tips to use now, just some of my favorite tips to give to people, hopefully some new things for you to learn, and also some tips that you may have heard before but that will reinforce how important it is to use those tips. And then helpful FlexJobs resources, what you can find on our site and where you can find it. And of course, like I said, at the end we'll be doing a question and answer session for about 20 minutes. So I'll try to answer as many questions in rapid fire as I can at the end of the presentation. All right, so just a little bit about FlexJobs. So our company was founded in 2007 by our CEO, Sarah Sutton-Fell, and she founded the company actually when she was pregnant with her first child. She was looking for a job that would offer some kind of flexibility. She wanted to continue her career as a new mom, but she also wanted that flexibility to sort of be there for her growing family. And she wanted to work from home and maybe have a flexible schedule, and she found it really frustrating and overwhelming to try to find those types of jobs. She came across a lot of scams, a lot of business opportunities, but nothing that came across easily that was, a regular professional full-time job but that offered flexibility. And so she thought there should be a place where people can go, job seekers just like her, to find professional level, legitimate telecommuting and flexible jobs all in one place. And that's how FlexJobs came about. So since then, we've become a site that lists pre-screened telecommuting, flexible schedule, full-time and part-time, and freelance jobs. And a lot of our jobs have combinations of those different types of flexibility. We have over 50 staffers who all work from home throughout the United States, so we don't have a centralized office. We all work from home, and we all have flexible schedules. And we've helped over 1 million job seekers in their quest to find flexible and telecommuting jobs. So we're really proud of that, and we hope to help a lot more this year. We on the site have over 30,000 researched and vetted companies, and that means that our job research team and our writing team have gone through, found companies that offer flexible and telecommuting jobs, done research on them, screened them, made sure that they're legitimate, they're not scams, and they're on our site for you to kind of search through and see what's out there. So I'll talk about our company database later, but we have really good resources for helping you pinpoint exactly which companies hire for flexible opportunities. And also I'll say up front that we're a membership site. We're a little bit different from other job boards that you might have used in that we do not charge employers to post their job listings. The reason that we do that is so that we can be really particular with the types of employers and jobs that get on our site. We want to make sure that they're all legitimate, they're all offering some kind of real flexibility, and that they're all professional level jobs. So we're pretty particular about the companies and the jobs that are posted to our site. But in order to have that service for you, we have a subscription service for job seekers. And so if you want different subscription levels, there's a 1 month, a 3 month, or a year subscription, and it ranges from $14.95 for 1 month to $49.95 for a year. And there are a lot of free services on the site, so I would say definitely check us out. Don't feel like just because we're a subscription service that rules us out of your job search. We do offer a lot of free, helpful resources, which I'll go over. But I just want to say up front that that's the way that we are, and that's really so that we can be 100% focused on helping job seekers. We don't have any advertising on our site. We don't list business opportunities. We don't list commission-only jobs. We have a really clean, easy-to-use database for job seekers who are looking for professional jobs with some type of flexibility. So hopefully you'll check us out. And then I also wanted to mention sort of a sister site of ours, 1 Million for Work Flexibility. If you're really passionate about flexible work and work-life balance and finding a job that fits your life and knowing that it's possible to have a professional life and a personal life and not have them get all kind of mixed up together or spend too much time in the professional side, workflexibility.org hopes to bring together everybody who supports flexible work options. For whatever reason, you might be supporting it, whether you're a stay-at-home parent, you are someone with a disability looking for a way to continue in your career, you move a lot and you just need a job that moves with you. That was my story. Whatever your reasons for searching for that flexible work, we hope you'll check out workflexibility.org and add your name to the list of people who have signed up to support it. It's just sort of a bringing together everybody who supports work flexibility and helping to champion that and encourage companies and legislators to be more supportive of work flexibility. So please feel free to check that out. But now into the big stuff, the stuff we're going to talk about today, flexible and virtual jobs. So I'm going to talk about this job market, get you a little bit familiar with it, and then we'll go into also job search tips and all of that sort of stuff. So first, what is a flexible job? I'm going to use that phrase a lot during the next half hour or so. Essentially, it's any job that has a type of flexibility. So the things we're talking about are flexible schedules or alternative schedules, part-time or full-time, virtual, work from home, remote, telecommute, those all kind of mean the same thing, and freelance, contract, or temporary jobs. Now, it can be any combination. So you might find a job that is a full-time flexible schedule job, or that's a part-time work from home job, or that's a freelance job that's full-time with a flexible schedule that has a work from home component. So there's a huge variety of choices in the flexible job market, and it's just kind of important to know everything that's out there and know that when I say flexible job, I'm kind of referring to all of these as a group. The bottom line is that a flexible job is not a traditional 9-to-5 office job. It's one where you are able to better fit that job into your life, however that might be. So some trends in the virtual and flexible job market. In the U.S., there are 27 million people already working with flexible schedules, which is 29% of all full-time workers. There are 19 million people who hold part-time jobs by choice, meaning that that's the amount of work that they want to have. There are about 8 million people who work part-time but would rather have a full-time schedule, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. But for part-time professional jobs, they're certainly out there, and there are more people we've seen lately choosing that path. You know, they still want to stay professionally active, but they want to cut back their hours. Freelance. There are 53 million freelancers in the U.S. That's 34% of the workforce. And that number definitely looks like it will continue to grow. And then telecommuting, there are 34 million occasional telecommuters in the U.S., and occasional just means that they might not necessarily be full-time telecommuters. They might telecommute a few days a week or a few days a month or whatever it might be, but that they do work from home on occasion. And the reason that it's important to point that out is because there are shades of gray when it comes to telecommuting. So if you're looking for a work-from-home job, I would definitely recommend deciding sort of how much telecommuting you want to do. And when you search FlexJobs, you can actually search by the amount of telecommuting. So if you want to telecommute most of the time or all of the time, or maybe just occasionally, you can choose those different levels. And it's important because some people might not be comfortable working from home all of the time. They want that in-office interaction. They like to be around people, but they also enjoy not having to go to work every day and not, having to dress up or take that commuter train or whatever it might be. I enjoy working from home every day, and I do it. My husband does not enjoy working from home nearly as much as I do, but he likes to do it occasionally. So there are, a variety of different ways to frame telecommuting, and it's important to think about what you want. Around the world, where do we stack up? So 20% of the world are frequent telecommuters, and again, that's sort of similar to that occasional telecommuting in that they work from home at least some of the time. And I know we do have a number of international callers or viewers today, so I welcome you guys, and this information certainly will apply to you as well. And then 10% of the workforce throughout the world work from home every day. And so that's actually a little bit higher than the U.S. The U.S., 4.4% of our workforce work from home every day. But that has actually grown about 80% since 2005. So it's a trend that is going up, and we're happy to help you guys find all of the latest virtual and flexible jobs that are out there. So who is telecommuting? I think some people, and we are talking about telecommuting right now, we'll get back into all sorts of flexible jobs in the next slides. But specifically, a lot of people want to be telecommuters, but they don't realize the opportunities that are out there, and they might think that it's not quite the right fit for them for whatever reason. And there's sort of a misconception that telecommuters are fresh out of college, they're working for a startup, they're working out of their parents' basement while they get this business going, and that's how they're working from home. The reality is much different. The average telecommuter is actually about 49 years old. They're a college graduate. They're a man or a woman, so there's really no gender difference when it comes to who is working from home. And they typically work for a company with more than 100 employees, so they're actually working for larger companies. And hopefully that helps put telecommuting on the list of your possibilities if it's something you're interested in, to know that it's usually a mid-level career professional who's working from home, more so than the kind of stereotype that we think of people who work from home. In the U.S. right now, 50% of our workforce have telecommute compatible jobs, meaning that at least some, if not all, of the job could be done from home. And so that's very similar to my experience right now. Most of my job is done over the phone and email, computer, internet, all of that sort of stuff, webinars, for example. And a lot of people have, about 50%, half of the workforce, have jobs that can be done like that, either part-time or full-time from home. So there's definitely the opportunity out there, and more companies are starting to realize that this is a possibility for their workforce. The top career fields for flexible jobs. Career fields with the most flexible and telecommuting job listings. We track this every month. We have numbers come in to see where the jobs are being posted, what career fields are sort of leading the pack when it comes to flexible jobs. We have over 100 career fields that on our site that we take a look at, and these are the 14, and I'll tell you why there's 14, but these are the top 14 career fields that regularly offer flexible jobs. The reason that there are 14 is because they tend to kind of fluctuate month over month, so I like to show you this list because it really is the top, but depending on the month they might change a little bit. If I showed you the top 10, it would leave out those 4 additional ones. But month over month, these pretty much stay at the top. If you don't see your career field on this list, it doesn't mean that there aren't options for you. By no means does it mean that. Like I said, we have over 100 career fields on the site, and so we have been really surprised and amazed that there are flexible and telecommuting jobs out there for everyone. Medical and health is always a surprise to people that that's the top career field for flexible job listings, and this includes all types of flexibility. But there are a huge number of opportunities in that field in general that usually tops the overall job market, but also in the flexible job market. So that's something to keep in mind. I like to tell people that if you ever have to call your doctor's office after hours and you call that nurse helpline and you get a nurse on the phone, she's probably working from home. There are a lot of telephonic or telecommuting nurses out there nowadays, and it's nurses who have been in their career for years and have worked in hospitals and practices and have just decided that they want to stay off their feet a little bit and work from home but still help patients. So a lot of opportunities like that are cropping up where people who have the knowledge and experience in a particular field can find opportunities to work flexibly in that field. Common flexible job titles. So this is a list of things to keep on your mind, I guess, as you look for jobs, just to get a sense of what's out there. These are usually the most common. Our job research team helped us compile this list, and our job research team, I think we have over 10 researchers now, and they spend over 60 hours a day combined, of course, looking for flexible and telecommuting and virtual types of jobs out there. So they really have a good understanding of what is available and what the most common jobs are. So these are the job titles that they see often. They see these sort of, every day as they're doing their search. These, again, include a wide variety of career fields from writer to SEO and marketing assistant, medical coding, marketing manager, systems analyst. So there's computer and IT, there's medical, there's writing, there's education, there's all sorts of opportunities out here. And again, it's just to sort of demonstrate to keep your mind open when you're thinking of flexible jobs. One job title that doesn't appear on this list but that I like to kind of tell people about just to give you the idea of the wide variety of stuff that's out there, there's a job called Web Search Evaluator or Internet Assessor. Two different job titles. They mean more or less the same thing. And it's basically somebody who spends their time searching Google, and why they do that is to help companies better their search results, so that when you're searching for a particular company or a product, that you're helping these companies be better or come up higher in search results on different search engines. And that job didn't even exist 10 years ago. So there's a huge variety of things that are new that you might not have ever heard of. And so I would definitely encourage everybody to just check out what's out there. Don't go in with any preconceived notions. You may be in one particular career field and that's what you want to do, but check out the related job titles around that career field, see what else is out there, and yeah, really get into the research part of this and know your options. So companies that offer flexible jobs, there's all these different types of jobs out there, but who is actually hiring? The companies that you see on this list on the screen, these are hosted employers on FlexJobs or featured employers. And what that means is that they come to FlexJobs to post their jobs. And we have thousands of featured employers. This is just kind of a sample of the different industries and employers that come to us. But these are employers who have sort of stuck their flag in flexible work and said, we support it, we want to hire people who are virtual or who have flexible schedules, and they know that it's not only good for employees, but it's good for business. So you'll see names like Apple and PricewaterhouseCoopers, American Express, Westat, First Data, Aetna, Humana, wide variety of options here. On our site, and I will show you a couple different free resources like this on our site, but you will find the guide to the best companies for flexible jobs, and there's the URL in case you want to copy that down. And there's the top 10, and essentially, I mean, we have over 30,000 companies that we search through to make up these lists, but the top 10 is the companies that have posted the most flexible jobs, including all types of flexibility, over the last 2 years. And so you'll get another example of the variety that's out there. You can search the best companies guide by a number of different ways to sort of narrow down your search into what specifically you're looking for, and I'll go over that later in another slide. But hopefully this gives you an idea of the different types of variety that are out there, the names of the companies that are hiring, and also if you're interested in these types of webinars, we've had Amazon do webinars in the past. We just had a Convergys webinar last week. So a lot of these companies are starting to do webinars with us to get out there in front of job seekers and introduce their information to the job seekers directly. So be on the lookout for those. So what do companies look for in flexible workers? This is sort of part of your job search plan in 2015, is to really put yourself out there as the ideal candidate for whatever jobs you're going for. And if you're going for flexible jobs, there are certain traits, skills, and characteristics that you can add to your resume, you can talk about in your cover letters, you can add to your LinkedIn profile that put you out there as somebody who is a good choice for flexible work. So a couple of those things. First and foremost, people who can self-manage. If you are good at managing your time, managing your schedule, managing your workload by yourself, that's a really important part. Put it out there. Talk about the different times that you've had to do that when you've worked independently. If you've ever worked from home before, even if it was just sort of a fluke, there was a big snowstorm and you decided to stay home that day and work from home, that's experience that you can use to your advantage when you're applying for virtual jobs, or if you've ever had a flexible schedule. If you're applying for flexible jobs, employers really like to see that you have previous experience. So if you can manage your time, your schedule, your workload, you're going to have a leg up in the job search. The next thing is proactive communicators, people who don't mind asking questions, raising their hands, reaching out, and don't have to be prompted to do so by their managers. It's a big difference when you're having a flexible schedule or you're working from home or you're a freelancer. You are really responsible for letting your manager know what you're up to, what you're working on, and what you're accomplishing. Even if you work in office but you have a flexible schedule, you may not see your manager a lot because you might be working different hours. And so you want to be proactive and tell them, on a regular, if it's weekly or daily, the things that you're working on, the things that you have done, and if you have questions, don't be afraid to ask those questions. As an introvert myself, this is something that I had to work on a lot. I'm not the person who in high school would raise my hand to answer questions in class. That just wasn't something that came naturally to me. But if you can work on this and make yourself that outgoing, proactive communicator, it will definitely benefit you in the job search and in your flexible job. This includes, and these are things you might want to work on or list if you already have experience with them, list them on your resume and LinkedIn and all those places. Phone, email, instant messenger, video and web conferencing similar to like the webinar that we're doing today, and message boards. If you have any experience with these, definitely play that up in your applications if the company is talking about it in their job descriptions and that sort of stuff. Also, for a home office, this is really important if you want to work from home, and I can see from some of the comments that a lot of you do. Your home office is a really important space, and a lot of employers will want to kind of see proof that you have a home office set up ahead of time, both with equipment, computer equipment, and your internet speed and a whole host of things. So one thing for your home office to know is that you, as a telecommuter, you can't be afraid of technology. You're kind of the first line of IT help for yourself because you work from home. There's no IT department down the hall that you can ask for help when you have a technical issue with your computer. So just being able to troubleshoot those little issues that come up, you get an error message or your printer's not working right, being not afraid of that sort of stuff is really helpful. So something to get comfortable with if you're not already. And most companies do, most companies do have tech support help for their workers, but it's just not something that they offer on a regular it's more difficult as a virtual worker to get that sort of thing. Quiet space to work from home. So this is really important because a lot of the communication that you're doing as a work from home person is on the phone, through webinars or chat like this, where people can kind of hear what's going on. You probably have heard some things going on in the background of my office. I try to keep it as quiet as possible. I do have a quiet space. I work from the corner of my guest bedroom, but it is really important to find a quiet space in your house to create your office. Fast internet. Companies that actually ask you to test your internet and send them proof of the speed, they usually require a minimum of 5 megabytes per second download or faster. So you can actually test that. There's a free test, speedtest.net, and you can go there and just run a quick test of your download speeds and see where you're at now. And it might be something where before you start applying or as you're applying to telecommuting jobs, you up your internet speed so that you can tell employers, yep, I already have that. We can check that one off the list. Gives them one less thing to worry about you. And then finally, as a person who is looking for flexible jobs, you not only have to have these kind of qualities or get these kind of qualities, work on them, but you also have to have all of the regular requirements for whatever job you're going for. So I would definitely, focus on the job description, the requirements that they're listing there, but also think about what would that employer like to see in a flexible worker? What would help them pick you and trust you as somebody who can work flexibly and still be productive and efficient and manage yourself? So keep those traits in mind. So now for some quick job search tips that you can hopefully put into practice, as soon as we get off this webinar. You may have heard some of these. Hopefully some of these are new to you as well. But these are things that are sort of tried and true in my experience. The job seekers who do these things, the people that I've worked with, are the successful job seekers. So hopefully you'll find that's the case for yourself as well. The first is to decide what you want ahead of time, and it's not enough to say that you want a job or a flexible job. You definitely have to decide the type of flexible work options that you're interested in, and it might be a variety. You might be willing to do freelance or a regular employee type of job, or work in an office or work virtually. But it's important to know that so that you have a focus and you know what you're applying for, what you're searching for. And then you want to research jobs and companies before you apply. It's really important to know not only what's out there to make sure that you are expanding your job search to include all sorts of different things that you are qualified for and that you're able to do and that you might enjoy doing, but also to learn the companies that are out there, the people who are hiring both in your area, and then if you want to work virtually, the companies that are hiring that might be in a different state or a different part of the country entirely or in a different country around the world. The next thing is to be organized. I definitely recommend keeping a daily job search journal or a record of some kind. Excel spreadsheets are a really easy way to set that up. Just something to keep track of the companies you've applied to, the people that you've spoken to, their contact information, all of those little things that can get lost. And you might think, well, I emailed them, their email address will be saved in my email somewhere. But if you have a record of that, if you have something to go back to, you can find it really quickly. And it also helps to see how much work you're putting into it and how much progress you're hopefully making. And to see if you're making any missteps. Have you sent out a lot of resumes but you're not getting interviews? It might be time to take a look at your resume and reorganize that a little bit. Are you getting interviews but not jobs? A record will help you figure out where you're doing things really well and where you need to improve as a job seeker. Have a professional review your resume. For a lot of people, it's been a while since you've been in the job market. Things are starting to look really good for 2015 as far as the companies that are hiring, the number of jobs that are out there. But it might have been a long time since you last looked at your resume. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to pay someone to look at your resume. You could ask a trusted colleague or a friend, or two other places that I would recommend. Your college alumni office, and I say this because I used to work at a career office and we would help alumni all the time. If you graduated from a college or university, you can use their career services usually for life. Sometimes they have very small fees that you might pay to get services. Sometimes the first visit or the first resume review or whatever is free. So inquire at your college's alumni office if they offer those services to you. It's a really good way to reconnect with your college. They'll offer you other services like the alumni network so you can reconnect with people and see what they're doing and how they might be able to help your job search. And then they can do things like resume reviews and mock interviews if you haven't been on an interview in a really long time. There's a lot of different benefits to going back there. But then also, if you're looking for somebody to review your resume, there are professional resume review services that you would pay for. And usually those, if you find a good service, those can be well worth the money. They really overhaul your resume. They make it stand out. They make it look good. They know what recruiters are looking for, and they can certainly help you kind of put your best face forward, so to speak, on your resume. If you're a FlexJobs member, we do have discounts for resume review services, and you can find those in the savings section, which is under the right-hand menu on the FlexJobs website. So that's just one. We have a number of different discounts like that if you become a FlexJobs member. There's resume review services, mock interview services, business card discounts, all sorts of different things to help your job search in a discounted way. Discounts on online courses in case you need to get better at certain skills or computer programs or whatever it might be. So definitely check those out. And then take charge of your personal branding. And this is one of those buzzwords that you hear a lot as a job seeker, personal branding. But it is really important. The more and more employers, I think it's like 93 or 95% of employers will Google you before they invite you in for an interview. They want to kind of get to know a little bit more about you, learn about your personality, and it's hard to do that on a resume and a cover letter. So at least make your things match. If you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, About Me is a nice little free site to sort of build a one-page online resume, I guess, if you will, about yourself. I really like it. And Twitter, whatever you're using, just make it match. And of course, up your privacy settings so they can't find all of your pictures and all that sort of stuff. That's a really common job search piece of advice because it's true. But if you're an employer is searching for you online and they search your Facebook and they find one version of you, and then they search your LinkedIn and they find another version of you, it sort of creates that question in their mind of who are you coming to work? And I'm not saying that it is relevant. I often will say, you know, Facebook, what you do in your personal life is not necessarily relevant to what you do in your professional life, but the reality is that it happens in the job search, and so you should prepare for it. And so the next one, be the first one to apply for a job, or one of the first. You can't obviously always be the first one, but the way you can do that is to sign up for job alerts, and this is something that FlexJobs offers if you're a member. Most job search sites will have some sort of alert system where, depending on the criteria that you put in, you'll be alerted of any jobs that match that criteria as soon as they're posted and you're able to apply right away. It just makes it a lot easier in the job search process to be one of the first to apply. And then stay scam-free. So if you're looking for flexible jobs and virtual jobs in particular, try to avoid the phrase work from home. I know it's a really common phrase, and that's how we refer to it a lot at FlexJobs in our blog posts because it's what people know, you working from home. But it's also a phrase that a lot of scammers use, and it's actually so prolific in the scam world, I guess, that the FBI and the Better Business Bureau had designated that phrase a scam phrase a few years ago. It's just a very common phrase that is used by a lot of scam companies and scammers individually. So try to avoid that, but instead use keywords like remote, virtual, and telecommute when you are searching for telecommuting jobs, and you're likely to come up with a lot more scam-free, clean listings. If you're searching for FlexJobs, this isn't an issue because we've already screened out the scams. So anything that you find on the FlexJobs site is a legitimate, real job. So you don't have to worry about that, which is very nice. And then know your audience. What works for a startup might not work for a big company. If you are reading the job description, reading the company's website, you kind of get a sense of their personality as a company. Do they refer to themselves in the third person all the time, or do they say things like we and our? Are they casual? Are they traditional? All those different things that a company puts out about themselves tell you about that company's personality. And when it comes to company culture, they're looking for people who will be a good fit for that culture. So being able to adjust your tactics and customize your applications to fit that particular company's culture. Now, I should say I'm still highly suggest that you be completely forthright, you be honest, and you present your real self, but in a way that that company can kind of understand and digest and see if you would make a good match for them. So adjust your tactics, know your audience, and don't send the exact same cover letter or resume to every job. It takes more time, certainly, to switch up your resume a little bit and write a new cover letter for each job, but it really is worth it in the long run. Sending out hundreds of resumes and cover letters isn't going to get you anywhere if they're not customized for that particular job. The other reason is that not only will recruiters read those and find them a little bit more compelling than just a generic cover letter, If you are applying through those big applicant tracking systems, where you have to fill out every field and it takes a really long time, and we commiserate with you, they are not fun. But if you're filling out job applications through those, they actually have keywords set up that their systems are scanning for. So they're looking for your cover letter and your resume to say certain things that match the job description. And if you don't have those customized keywords in there, it's probably going to pass you over. So it's incredibly important to customize your resumes, your cover letters, and adjust your tactics for different company audiences that you're applying for. So some helpful resources at FlexJobs, and this is sort of the last section before we get into the Q&A. We have the FlexJobs Job Search Advice blog, and you can check that out. It's flexjobs.com/blog, pretty easy. And what we offer there, we do about 21 new articles a week. That's 3 new articles a day, and they're all related to tips for searching for flexible jobs, the types of jobs that are out there, types of companies hiring. We do company spotlights. We do lists of new jobs that are recently posted to give you a sense of what's out there, where to put your efforts, and how to do things like customize your resume or practice for phone interviews, or all of those little things that are slightly different in the flexible job search. If you can think of it, we have probably written an article about it. If we haven't, I definitely encourage you to let us know, and we will write an article about it because we're always looking for new topics. The free company guide. So if you go to flexjobs.com/company-guide, this is our guide to the best companies for flexible jobs. And I showed you that top 10 list earlier. This is where that comes from. But you can search by career category, so you can find all of the companies that have hired for flexible jobs in your particular career field. You can search for the type of flexibility you want, so companies that regularly hire for part-time jobs or remote jobs. You can search by things like accolades such as the Fortune 500 or the Newsweek Green List. There's a lot of different ways to search for companies. All of the companies that you find in this guide have offered flexible jobs in the past, so and are probably currently offering them as well, but have definitely offered them in the past, so it'll give you a really good idea of which companies are hiring for flexible jobs in particular, I should say. And then we have a job search by location. So if you're really interested in working for a company that is in your area, whether it's your city or your state or your country, we also have a country list, or if you're looking for jobs that allow you to work from anywhere, whether it's throughout the United States or throughout the world, we have different ways to search by location. There are jobs that have, and I think I said before, about 75% of telecommuting jobs do require some sort of location. And that's for a variety of different reasons, whether it's where they're actually set up to have employees and pay payroll taxes and that sort of stuff, or they want people in a particular region because that's where their clients are. There's a whole number of different reasons that they would require a location. But if you're looking for a location-free job, if you go to that search location area, you'll find our Anywhere Jobs list, which lists all jobs that have no location requirement. You can work from anywhere in the world, and our U.S. national jobs, which allow you to work from anywhere in the U.S. As far as the U.S. versus international job seekers, I will say that the majority of the jobs on our site are for U.S. residents, but we do have some jobs for international job seekers. We have particular location searches for Canada, Australia, the UK, and then other countries throughout the world as well. And so the nice thing is if you're not a FlexJobs member yet, you can still go and search for jobs and see what's listed. The only thing you won't see when you're looking at a job listing is the company's name and the application information. So that's reserved for FlexJobs members, but if you go to search for jobs, it'll at least give you a good sense of what's out there, if it meets what you're looking for, and if you think the service would be worthwhile for you, and we hope you find that it is, but at least you get a sort of preview of what to expect on the site. And a lot of all these things are free to use, I should say, the company guide, the blog, and then search by 100 categories. So if you're looking for a job in your career field, this is a great place to start, and that's just flexjobs.com/jobs, where you can search by category. But I would definitely recommend playing around with the site, seeing what's out there, and just getting a sense of how to best use the site to your advantage if you're looking for flexible jobs. Okay, so we've come to the question and answer session as promised. I think we're about 20 minutes left. I will say just before I start with questions, which I see are rolling in like crazy, I will try to get to as many as possible. But also after the webinar, there's going to be a follow-up email sent to you all tomorrow. And that will include a quick survey. We really hope you fill that out. It will seriously take 1 minute, I promise. There's, I think, 3 questions. And in that survey, you can also sign up for the FlexJobs newsletter if you don't already receive it, and that includes discounts for, like I was talking about before, we feature those member savings offers, but also discounts for FlexJobs and other sort of partner organizations. So, and that comes weekly. It's a great resource. Our blog posts are featured in it, some companies that are hiring, new jobs, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, that's a great source. So please feel free to fill out that survey when you get it tomorrow. But now let's get on to the questions. Oh yes, one question that I'm sure is in here a lot is about it's Renee asking about the earning potential for flexible jobs. We get the question a lot, do flexible jobs or do telecommuting jobs pay less than in-office jobs? And we've done some research on this to find out because we really wanted to know. There's definitely the perception that they pay less. And sometimes you will hear employers who say, yes, because you are saving, money by not having to commute and upkeep your wardrobe and that sort of stuff, we do pay slightly less. But what we found is that average overall, flexible jobs, telecommuting jobs pay the same range as in-office jobs. So again, that's going to depend on your location, your level, experience, education, all that sort of stuff. But we have found that on average they pay very similarly, if not the same, or slightly more or slightly less, depending on the job that you're looking at. There are a couple blog posts about that topic that give you examples of different fields that we've done some research in. And we also did an article on salary.com, and we partnered with payscale.com to do some more research on that, and our findings were that they're pretty similar. So the same goes for benefits. If anybody's asking about what types of benefits flexible jobs offer, it is completely in line with the benefits that are offered for regular jobs. So if you are a full-time employee and you work virtually, you're going to receive the same benefits package that your office-bound counterparts would receive. If you're a freelancer, your benefits are probably up to you, and that's the same for freelancers across the board. Okay, do you have to have a degree for most flexible jobs? I will say that the majority of the jobs on our site do require a college degree. We do have some jobs that require a high school degree or a GED, but we do try to focus on those sort of career level telecommuting and flexible jobs which a degree is required. I will also say that we have entry level through executive jobs, and we do see a lot of executive flexible jobs, which is really interesting. It's one of those areas that people don't necessarily assume that a vice president or a chief operations officer or someone like that could work virtually or have flexibility like that, but we do see those jobs. Let's see, I'm just looking at the questions list here. Does FlexJobs offer a free trial before becoming a member? We don't have a free trial level, but what you can do is sign up, and you'll be able to receive our newsletter. Everybody will have access to the free parts of the site no matter what, and then in order, like I said, to get the information for each particular job on how to apply and the company that's offering the job, and a long description. We'll give you a short job description, but if you want the long job description, all of that comes as a FlexJobs member. And then, of course, this is a really good question, sort of how does that application process work? So essentially, we are an intermediary. We're finding the flexible jobs that are being offered by other companies. Companies either come to us to post their jobs, or they go out there to find other jobs, and then, our job researchers go out to find the jobs, and I'll put them on our site. And then as far as getting hired, it's very similar to a regular job application process. You'll apply for the job through that company. FlexJobs doesn't have any sort of pull or sway in the job application process. We're simply getting all of these jobs together for you in one place and putting them out there. All right, so let's see. Will the slides be available for download afterwards? They will not, unfortunately, but we will have this recording, so hopefully you can go back and take some good notes. How do you set up a job search reminder for a specific city and state? So that's something that if you're talking about specifically on FlexJobs, our client services team can help you with. On all job boards, I would look for a job alert or job notification option. and that's where you'll be able to fill that out. But on FlexJobs, it'll go off of whatever you have on your resume profile that you've filled out for the categories and for the location that you're interested in, that sort of stuff. And let's see, what other jobs do we have? Oh, a couple of people actually asked what was the name of that job that I mentioned that was sort of internet search. There's internet assessor and web search evaluator. Those were the two jobs there. And scrolling here. Why is it that most of the telecommuting jobs require you to live in a particular state where the position is being offered? Yep, so this is a great question. I covered it a little bit. There are a number of different reasons that you would need to be located in a particular state for a telecommuting job. A lot of it has to do with the position itself. If you're a sales rep or a field manager of some kind, being in that location is really important. Other times companies just want you to be close to their headquarters so that you can come in for occasional meetings or in-person training or things like that. They want you to be virtual and work in your home office, but then they also want to be able to have you there for whatever events might be happening at the office. So like I said, there's a lot of shades of gray with telecommuting. There's a couple blog posts on our site too. If you search for why do telecommuting jobs require a location, you'll be able to find all of that out. Let's see, I'm just looking back here. Yes, how do you list that you have previous telecommuting or flexible job experience on your resume? There are a couple different ways you could do this. On each job where you had that flexible experience, what you could do is next to the job title, perhaps in parentheses or with a dash to separate the job title, you could say virtual office or home-based position, however you want to phrase it. It's, a remote position is very common with companies, remote or virtual. And so I would put it there, right next to the job title. So if you were administrative assistant dash virtual position, something like that. Or a flexible worker, flexible schedule, something that sort of denotes what you were able to do. But then you can also put it, if you have a summary of qualifications at the top of your resume, that's a really good place to put it. You could use one bullet there to say, and a summary of qualifications, I should say, for anybody who doesn't have one, it's a great way to kind of give an introduction to your resume and show employers what you have to offer them right off the bat, so they don't have to kind of dig it out reading your resume line by line. So one of the things you can put is that you have, 2 years experience or 5 years experience working from a home office, or working a flexible schedule where you were, self-managed and that sort of stuff. You can kind of display it there. You can also talk about it in your cover letter. You can put it on LinkedIn, but those are a couple different places to put it on your resume. We talked about benefits. Somebody was asking about that. For somebody's asking about bilingual telecommuting jobs, 100% telecommuting jobs. Yes, we definitely have. There's a lot of translator or interpreter jobs that require particular languages. So I would do search, for keywords like telecommuting bilingual interpreter, or it looks like this person speaks Portuguese, so you could search for Portuguese interpreter, or Portuguese translator and see what comes up. A lot of those jobs are 100% telecommuting. I would say the majority of them probably are. And just scrolling down here, don't want you guys to think that I've left it all as I'm looking at all these different jobs here. I only have a Wi-Fi internet connection. Would that be a problem for a virtual job? It depends. At FlexJobs, we have no specific requirement about that, so our staffers kind of use whatever they have. I'm on Wi-Fi right now. But then there are other positions. I actually just learned with Convergys last week. They were one of our companies who did a webinar, and they require a hard line. You have to be wired in, connected to the internet. You can't be Wi-Fi. So most companies will spell that out in the job description. If they have a particular requirement for that, they're going to put it there. If you don't see anything mentioned, I think it's safe to assume that you could proceed. They may have a requirement that they're just not listing, but I would say most of the time companies that really need that specific, no Wi-Fi, only wired internet will put that in the job description, so you'll kind of know right up front. And I would also say there are a couple people who are concerned because they don't have fast internet. It's not always a requirement. It's just something to keep in mind, especially if you're working in customer service or sales, jobs where you have to be on the phone a lot, a lot of companies with their virtual workers who work in those areas will have sort of the phone set up over the internet so that you're connected that way. So it's extremely important that you don't lose your connection and that you have a fast speed when you're speaking to people all day long through your internet phone. But for someone who is maybe a writer or an accountant or something like that who works virtually and you're not on the phone all day long, you're not interacting with clients, companies are less likely to require a certain internet speed. So I don't want to scare anybody. I hope I didn't, but it really depends on the industry that you're going into. The FlexJobs money back policy. Yes, we have a 100% money back guarantee. If you sign up for FlexJobs and you find for whatever reason it just wasn't for you, maybe you weren't finding the jobs that you thought you would, you didn't hear back from employers, whatever it might be, all you have to do is ask our client services team, and it's email or phone or however you'd like to do it, for your money back, and we issue a refund. And it usually happens the next business day. And we just want job searching for flexible jobs to be easier, faster, and safer for people. So if hopefully you find that we live up to that, but if we don't, we are happy to honor that money back guarantee and give you a refund. No questions asked. We just want people to be happy with the service. Selecting a profile title. So this is something that you can do on FlexJobs, but also with a lot of different job search websites, is sort of create a profile and select a profile title. It's kind of tricky, especially if you're a career changer, like I think this person is, and trying to figure out what to write in that profile title. It's a really small amount of real estate. It's sort of the headline to your profile or to your resume that tells employers what you have to offer. If you are changing career fields, I would definitely focus on any of the skills that transfer over into that new career field, or write specifically what you're looking for, as opposed to what you have to offer. If you're changing careers, it's a little bit tricky. I would see if you have any transferable skills that you can talk about. For example, I keep bringing up Convergys because it was the last webinar we had, but they were customer service positions, but they didn't actually require customer service experience except in that very specific way. So if you had worked with clients before or the public, we had a police officer who was on the call and he was wondering if his experience could be counted as customer service. If you have that direct interaction with other people, that could qualify as customer service. As far as Convergys was concerned, they were totally open to that. So I would say think about what specific requirements might be for that job that you are going for that new career that you want, and then think about what you've done that could translate. Basically what you're always doing as a job seeker is translating what you've done into what an employer wants you to do as an applicant. And so try to translate whatever you've done into your new career field. That's probably the most succinct way to say it. And also on the FlexJobs blog, we have a blog post with profile title examples from FlexJobs members who got jobs, and they used that profile title and it caught employers' eyes and they were able to land a job. So if you search for profile title examples on the blog, that should come up. Is telecommuter job the same as a virtual job? Yes. There are ever so slight differences, but for the most part, 99% of the time, employers are referring to the same thing. You're working from home, whether it's telecommuting, virtual, remote, all of those different keywords, they mean the same thing. And looking for a resume review service, what should you use to determine whether or not they're good? I would see if they have examples of before and afters on their site. See if they have client recommendations, if they have people who've left messages saying that they've done a really nice job. I would also see if they could offer you some free tips ahead of time. Just take a look at my resume and see if those tips are worthwhile. A lot of times they will give you a really brief review for free to let you know that they're a quality service, and then you can follow up by paying for the full overhaul, which is usually pretty helpful. So that's a good tip too, is to kind of look for any sort of freebie that they'll give you just to get to know what their style is, the things that they're going to look for on your resume, and also the background of the reviewers. A lot of times they'll have on their site what they've done in the past, why they're, are they certified resume writer? Have they been a career advisor or a career counselor? What makes them qualified to view resumes? You can kind of look at it like you're employing them, basically, and look at their qualifications. All right, I'm just scrolling through here. I think we have time for a couple more questions. Are secret shoppers real, or is that just a scam? Very interesting. It's kind of 50-50. There are legitimate mystery shopping jobs, and then there are scam ones. If you're looking on FlexJobs, we do have some of those jobs posted, and they are, obviously, we've screened them, and they are not scams. If you find them on other sites, be very skeptical. Be sure that you are given a lot of information up front about specifically what you would be doing with that job. Usually scam jobs always talk about how much money you can make and how little work you have to do, and they're very vague with details. So that's a big red flag if you're looking for mystery shopping jobs or whatever it might be. Those red flags should give you fair warning that that might be a scam. Oh, freelancer, yeah. What sort of defines a freelancer? So essentially a freelancer, they're also known as independent contractors, and it's really a designation for tax purposes. A freelancer will be responsible for paying their own taxes, sort of being your own business, essentially. One of the questions was, do you need to have an LLC to be a freelancer? You do not. You can incorporate if you want to do that, and if you decide you're going to be a full-time freelancer and that that's what you're doing, it's probably a smart move. If you're freelancing very part-time on the side, or you're just kind of getting into it and you want to see what's out there, I wouldn't necessarily say you have to, get an LLC for yourself. But it really has to do with you being responsible for paying your own taxes, keeping track of your expenses, and knowing all of the rules and regulations that go around that sort of stuff. I hate to keep referring people to the blog, but we do have a lot of blogs on that topic as well if you want some more details about that. But and the person was asking about freelancer versus telecommuting. You can be a telecommuting freelancer, or you can be an employee who telecommutes. An employee being, somebody who is employed by a company. The company takes out taxes from their payroll. The company is responsible for their expenses. That's the main differentiator versus a freelancer, but you might be working from home either way. One of the questions we get often is, do you have any job openings at FlexJobs to work for FlexJobs? We do on occasion, and of course we post them to FlexJobs. So you can check us out on the company guide to find FlexJobs, or in the job listings we'll have those. Right now I do believe we have a couple positions open for a marketing coordinator, and I think perhaps data entry, but I'm not positive, so don't hold me to that. But yes, we do hire pretty regularly. We're definitely a growing company, sort of slow but steady. So keep it in mind, and be sure to look for that on FlexJobs. That's of course where we post those jobs. Which social media sites do you recommend focusing on from all of the ones available? Yes, there are a ton. I would say whatever you're comfortable with. If you don't want to spend a lot of time on social media and job searching, I think it's important to be on some of them. I think the most important ones are probably LinkedIn for sure. It's free. It's really easy to create a very basic profile, and something is better than nothing. I think we just had a blog post on this topic that putting something out there is always better than putting nothing out there. As a job seeker, when an employer Googles you, you want something to pop up. If you have a LinkedIn profile, it's probably going to be the first thing that pops up when they search for your name. So I definitely recommend LinkedIn. If you want to get into it a little bit more, if social media kind of excites you and you're interested in it, I would say Facebook, About Me, Pinterest, Twitter for sure. It sort of depends on how much you want to do, but I would say LinkedIn is the very basic one for social media and your job search. So it looks like we've just come to the top of the hour, and that's all the time we have. So thank you all very much for attending. Like I said, you'll be receiving a recording of this, or a link to a recording of this webinar tomorrow. And so be on the lookout for that. Please fill out your survey if you can. And we wish you the very best of luck in your 2015 job search. We hope that you'll check out FlexJobs, utilize our free stuff, take advantage of our memberships, and just be smart, savvy, successful job seekers this year. Thank you all very much. Have a great year.